All right, good morning, everyone. This is a regular meeting of the members of the State Liquor Authority. Today is March 24th, 2020. This meeting is being held in Albany and pursuant to the Governor's executive order suspending provisions of the Open Meetings Law. We were able to do this with Commissioner Ford and Commissioner Fan participating by telephone. I'll just for the record confirm, Commissioner Ford, you're on the line. Commissioner Ford, are you on the line?
Yes, sorry, I was muted.
All right. And Commissioner Fan, you're also on the line?
Yes, I'm on the line.
All right. And also pursuant to that executive order, the public is not in attendance in this meeting. Everyone who had a matter on has been advised that this is done by written summation. This meeting and at least the next several meetings will be done the same way. Written submissions only, no conferences either by video conference in person or by telephone. Also in attendance here in Albany, Deputy Commissioner Licensing Roberts, Counsel to the Authority Meyerhoff, and myself, Secretary to the Authority Donahue. The next meetings of the Authority will be next week, April 1st, and then April 15th. We're going to call the items in the order they are on the agenda, since there are no appearances. We've already noted some adjournments that have been requested, and we will mention them as we go along. With that, Chairman, I understand you have at least some items you want to have the members consider, and you may have some other announcements.
Yes, Commissioners, these are going to be these are going to be items that I'm going to ask you to consider after I describe them to you. Obviously, we are in strange times. I think the furthest thing of a description of this meeting is that this is a regular meeting of the State Liquor Authority, because it clearly is not. But we're going to try to make do as best we can as everyone else is. So what we're proposing here from Council's office is some changes directly related to the events that are occurring to try to ease the burden on some of the businesses in the industry. We've made some changes already that if anyone does not know what those changes are, they can go to our website, but I think most people are aware of them. The changes that we're proposing today that Council has brought to us, I'm going to describe to you. As I said, after we vote on them, they will be put into written form in an advisory. At that point, I will be approving the advisory to make sure that they are consistent with what we voted on, and then put that up on the website. But after we vote on these, they're going to go into effect. So first, we're going to announce that the pricing module for the month of April will be reopened on March 24th and remain open until March 27th for wholesalers to repost prices. If they wish to do so, they can only do a downward adjustment of the price that was already posted.
I think we need to go to the 25th because we may not be able to get it open today.
Okay, it'll go from the 25th to Friday the 27th. At that point, it will close again. We've had requests from wholesalers that they wish to make downward adjustments to retail prices. We're going to allow that based on the situation that we're all in this industry right now. And if we can save anybody money on anything, we're willing to try to do that. So once again, that is only for downward adjustments. It can be no other adjustments to the pricing. Do you want to vote on that?
Chairman, can I just clarify that? Is that pricing going from the wholesaler to the retailers, or the pricing that for resale? Because I think I've heard both things.
It's a
resale price?
It's going from wholesaler to retailer.
Okay, got it. Okay.
Volume discounts?
And say that again?
Volume basically lower the volume needed to be purchased for the volume discount.
Yes, and it would also lower the volume needed to be purchased for the volume discounts.
Okay.
Do you want to vote on that?
Yes, hold on a second.
And this is a one-time thing at this point for just this price posting period. This is not something that's going to continue, and it obviously is for the extreme circumstances we're in.
It's for April pricing.
Right.
Okay. Okay. So I'm going to vote in the affirmative for this pricing change to go into effect tomorrow for 3 days from March 25th to March 27th. The pricing module will reopen for wholesalers to adjust prices downward for all sales that are going to retailers. We are also going to lower the volume requirement for any bulk discounts that are happening in the industry.
Yeah, and that would be obviously up to the wholesaler whether they are involved in that or not.
And
Commissioner Ford?
I vote to approve on the same terms as well.
And I vote to approve. All right, the second item is, and I'm going to try to explain this as best I can. I think the commissioners are aware of it. We have a number of enforcement matters on today for penalties. The authority recognizes that particularly our on-premise licensees are in very, very difficult circumstances right now, particularly when we talk about cash flow. So we are going to impose penalties because these are cases that were already in our pipeline before these events happened. However, those penalties are not going to be imposed for 60 days, and that may be revisited in the future. So when we impose these penalties, they are going to be owed by the retailer. However, they will not be receiving a letter from us that amount is owed for at least 60 days. After, or when 60 days approaches, we will revisit to see if that needs to be extended again. However, cancellations that have already been in the pipeline as well as revocations will still be enforced today because, as I said, those were agreed upon terms before the events that occurred today. I mean, before the events that occurred in early March, late February did occur, and that we're still all dealing with. Adam?
Okay, so Chairman,
Yes.
Can I clarify? When you say you're delaying for 60 days, is that saying it's basically, Tom will not send out the notices of the penalty for 60 days from now, and then in the event that 60 days from now, that extension expires, then Tom send it out, and then the people will still have, I don't know what period, usually they have 90 days to pay or something. So is that, so where are we building in the 60 days? That's what my question.
Well, before you answer, Tom, we're building the 60 days in. Usually the letter would go out from Secretary's office shortly after the meeting that the money was owed.
Yes,
we are not sending that letter for 60 days. We're starting at 60 days now. We will potentially revisit it when 60 days approaches. I imagine since most of our licensees are closed, and we have a finite number of enforcement matters in the pipeline, that this will not continue should this situation continue. But now you can answer your question.
Yes, Commissioner Fan, when the letter goes out, I believe currently we give 28 days to pay. And so as the chairman noted, that letter is not going to go out until at least 60 days from now, subject to further direction from the members. And
You have to address the existing
the alternate
cases.
penalties, I would ask that.
Oh, and additionally, the existing cases that are already out there, as far as penalties that are currently owed from past meetings, there is, when those items are not paid, there generally is an alternate penalty that is automatically imposed by the authority. That alternate penalty is either a suspension, depending on the charge, or a cancellation of the license.
What has to happen for us to extend the time that Tom gives people time to pay? Is there something that we can do to extend the 28-day period as well?
We don't really need to do that right now because I'm suspending the alternate penalties. So if they don't pay, for the amounts enforcement fines that are already out there in licensees' hands, these alternate penalties will be suspended.
We have approximately 100 outstanding fines from the last few board meetings.
And those are suspended?
Well, the collector, so rather than normally, if once they reach the deadline for payment, we would impose the alternate penalty. And the
Right.
chairman's proposing that we're not going to be reaching that deadline. Everything is to be held in abeyance for the 60 days until you revisit the situation.
Correct.
So the ones that are getting, that we're given a 60-day extension and we're going to revisit it, then you get the letter that goes out 28 days. So in effect, it's at this point almost like it's a 88, almost a 90-day extension.
Correct. That's if we don't change the 60 days in the future. That's for the ones today. The ones that are already out there that may owe money, they're just going to be held in abeyance until we revisit the 60 days.
Yep.
And if they can pay, they're welcome to pay. But this is in recognition of the fact that most licensees, particularly on-premise licensees, are not in business right now.
Okay. I would just put it on the record that I think even when we're okay with sending these notices out, that means that things are starting to recover and businesses are starting to reopen. I think we should consider giving them a longer time to pay, because at that point they will still be trying to, restart their businesses, and then they get a notice from us, and we don't really want our notice to be the reason why they can't recover. I think 28 days it's very limiting. I think at that point maybe there is something that we can do to extend that out further.
Well, I don't want to.
I'm just going to say that I realize this is not a negotiation. I just want to say that.
No, and I don't want to speculate on what's going to happen right now.
Sure, I understand.
In 60 days, so we can certainly revisit that then.
Okay.
So with that, Commissioner Fan, are you going to approve this action?
Yes, I vote to approve that after the vote today, that any penalties that are decided on enforcement matters, the notice to tell them about their penalties will be delayed for right now for 60 days. But however, this delay does not apply to cancellations or any revocations. And also, the chairman is also suspending, or we are also suspending the alternate penalties for now for any outstanding fines.
Correct.
And I vote in the affirmative.
Commissioner Ford.
I vote to approve the same.
All right, so I have two more. One I'm going to do, and then Adam is going to explain the last one. We have been notified, this generally just applies to New York City, but I guess it would apply to any municipality as well. We've been notified by several practitioners that many of the community boards in New York City are requesting notice for renewals, as well as notice of new applications be sent by email from the applicant. Statutorily, that notice generally requires service by certified mail. And the reason for that is so that there is evidence that the community board received the notice and that before the 30 days ran. What we're proposing only for the community boards that have requested the use of email, or municipalities that have requested the use of email, that email will be sufficient notice to those community boards and municipalities. However, it must be accompanied by a additional email or communication from the municipality acknowledging that they received it, which is pretty much the equivalent of what certified mail does. So you are permitted, when the community board requested you to notify them of a renewal or a new application by email, you are permitted to use email to give them that notice, but you do need a return email that acknowledges that they received it. And that can be done in New York City or with any municipality around the state, assuming that they have requested you utilize email. Are you good? Are you guys okay with that?
Yes. I vote in the affirmative for requested community board and municipalities who have requested to receive communication electronically, and but it will only be effective if the applicant also receive an electronic acknowledgement back from the community board or municipality.
And the reason for that, and just to clarify, the reason for that is because if an email is sent to the municipality or the community board and you don't get that acknowledgement back, there will be a problem with us reviewing that renewal or the license application when it's brought to our attention, because there'll be absolutely no proof that they received that email. Commissioner Ford?
I vote for it as well.
And I vote for it. Okay, the last item is going to be explained by Adam, our Deputy Commissioner in charge of licensing, and it deals with renewals.
Thank you, Chairman. I have a few other announcements to get to before we address the renewals. At this time, many of you are aware that we are limited in our capabilities as far as New York City goes. We had posted a notice that the service window is closed in New York City. Our Albany and Buffalo service windows are still functional, but additionally we have limited availability on those. With that being said, we encourage everybody that has temporary retail permit extensions to send those to our Albany office. That way we can ensure they get processed. Again, the New York City office service window is closed, and we encourage you to mail any documents you can to us and respond to us via electronic or email correspondence. Additionally, we're getting many requests for extensions on the fingerprinting. We understand that there is limited availability for the time slot with Identico. You do not need to request an extension via fingerprints with our licensing office. That has been extended, so no request is needed at this time. Additionally, with deficiency letters, if you receive any deficiency letters from us, if you need additional time on satisfying those conditions, we understand that access to records and other information is limited at this time. If you need additional time, please just send a request to us via email, and we'd be happy to grant that for you. With regards to renewals, we understand that many businesses are not able to satisfy the financial requirement of the renewal. If you can, we encourage you to send in the money with your payment, but at very minimum, send in the renewal application itself by the date that you're required to do so. If you are unable to satisfy the financial obligation of the renewal, we're allowing licensees 60 days up until June 1st to come into compliance with satisfying the requirement of sending in their money. So if you are either late or currently have a March renewal, you will still be required to send in the paperwork with the renewal application. However, if you're unable to, you'll have up until June 1st to do that. The same applies to any renewal coming due in April. You will have up until June 1st in May. Those renewals will be required to be satisfied as it normally would. Again, the environment that we're operating in, we understand, is very fluid at this time. This may change, but for anybody's renewals coming due or that are past due, we're allowing the 60 days up until the June 1st to come into compliance with your renewal in its entirety.
So that's the last piece is what the members will have to approve, the allowing for the
Renewal payments.
late payments coming in 60 days late, subject to being visited. So Commissioner Fan, Commissioner Ford, just to kind of repeat that one piece of what Deputy Commissioner Roberts mentioned, the last piece about extending the deadline to make the payment for the renewal, that has to be approved by the members and would be a part of an advisory. So I would ask Commissioner Fan, are you in agreement with that?
Yes, for March and April renewals, I vote in the affirmative to extend the deadline for any deficiencies or payments that are related to renewals. The extension will go until June 1st for now.
And Commissioner Ford?
I vote to approve that as well. Understanding that the receipt date is still effective for the forms itself, correct? Just
That's
not
correct.
the payment form.
That's correct.
Yeah. Okay.
Everyone should still file their renewal timely as if they regularly would, but the payment won't be due for 60 days with that date ending June 1st.
I vote to approve.
All right.
And I vote to approve as well. And just one other thing. We're obviously everyone is in a strange situation, and this agency is in a very strange situation as well. And I urge the industry as a whole to be patient with us as much as possible. We are operating as best we can while still keeping social distancing guidelines that have been directed from the governor's office in place. And I commend everyone here that has been here and continues to come into work every day. And we are continuing to do the work, but I urge you all, if somebody doesn't get back to you when you think they need to get back to you, give them an extra time to do so, because we're putting it together as best we can, and I'm proud of the way they're doing it, but I just urge you to be patient with us as best you can, and we'll be patient with you.
All right, then with that, we're going to proceed with the items on the calendar in the order that they are numbered. First item then is 380, LaGrange Heritage Wine and Spirits, Inc.
How is this going to work? Should we have this brief discussions about the cases, or how should we do this?
So, what I planned on doing is just kind of describing what this is generally, and then if there's stuff you want to talk about, we can talk about it right on the record. If there's something that we really need to go in and speak to council about, we can do that. But ideally, if possible, I'd like to do it on here, just so we don't have to go get on a conference call. And if you want to add,
okay. So can we describe the process in the event that we do need to get off this line and talk to council? How would that work?
We'll conference. We have both of your numbers, and we'll conference you in.
I see. Okay.
Right.
Or is the number they're calling in from?
We would need an alternate number, because if they're on the line.
Oh, right. Why don't you both email Tom an alternate number that we can call you on?
Okay. It would be my actual work the SLA cell phone. I'll just pull the number.
So both of you just email it to Tom now.
Okay.
And then while you're doing that, this is a Dutchess County package store on 1215 Route 55. It's a request for reconsideration. It was a unanimous disapproval in front of the full board on December 4th, 2019.
Actually, I think Commissioner Fan voted in the affirmative, and you and I voted to disapprove.
Is that right?
I'll double check. Hold on.
Yes, that's correct.
Yes, that's correct.
So, since then, we've gotten letters of support from County Executive Marcus Molinaro, Dutchess County Regional Chamber of Commerce Frank Costella, Town of LaGrange Supervisor Alan Bell, Town of LaGrange Deputy Supervisor Edward Jessup, Dutchess County Sheriff Adrian Anderson, and Dutchess County Undersheriff Kirk Imperiati.
Those are not new letters, Commissioner.
This is dated December 30th.
Some of them are, but some of them are not.
All right.
Some are from August and some are from December, so we did have them. So I just asked you to look at the dates.
Oh, I see. One's from August, a couple from December, August. All right, yeah, so they're all not brand new as I thought.
All right.
Are we ready to vote then on the question of reconsideration?
I don't really see any new information in this request for reconsideration.
Okay. Commissioner Ford?
I see a letter from March 11th stating gross sales from for LaGrange Heritage Wine and Liquors, which shows total gross sales from 2/1 to 2/20. First month shows 1 month sales. Is this correct? Of $543,000 for 1 month, and it says for the first week of March, it says $103,000, $538.
What are you reading?
I'm reading a letter from the law offices of Lorenzo L. Angelino, gross sales letter for LaGrange Heritage, that shows the gross sales, and it's dated March 11th, 2020, and it says gross sales.
Is this in the supplemental?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, for that 1 week, they did really well.
Like, wow. The 1 month, they did phenomenally.
No,
and then
it
and
says
1 week.
January to March, doesn't it?
No,
it
says 2/1/20 to 2/29/20.
Oh, I'm looking at a
But
different
the
one.
other thing is it's gross sales for this applicant.
Oh, I see.
I don't. Wait.
not-
So what?
No, that's for this applicant. I thought that was for someone else.
Yeah, this is a letter in opposition. Okay, you ready to vote? Commissioner
Yes.
Ford, I'm assuming Commissioner Fan, you just voted, correct?
I don't see any new information.
Okay.
But you guys can reconsider and give it, and because I voted in affirmative. That's the thing.
Well, it's a different vote here, so you can vote yes or no. It doesn't matter. Just to reconsider. That's all we're voting on.
Okay, I will reconsider.
Okay.
I would vote to reconsider as well.
I'd vote to not reconsider. There's no new information. And the reason I voted no last time was I didn't believe there was public convenience and advantage, and I don't believe that anything we've gotten here establishes that. But go ahead.
So then on the application itself, then how do you want to vote?
I know.
Commissioner Fan?
Yes. Yes.
Mr. Ford?
I think I'm still going to vote no.
All right then. So on reconsideration, the application is denied.
Okay.
Next item is 381. It's a disciplinary matter regarding Dean Martin and Cynthia Lou Lamphere.
This is a sale to minor charge 18 or under that happened on January 21st of 2020. They have an adverse history, so there's a CNC of 6,500.
6,500 accept.
6,500 accept.
Accept.
Next item, 382. Sabre Central Americana Deli and Restaurant, Inc. This is another disciplinary matter. It's a default.
4 charges, the books and records were not on the premises, and 3 failure to comply with local regulations. There is no previous history. And all 3 of the failure to comply were fire code regulations.
Yeah, unfortunate. This is a default. It's a new licensee. I'm at 2,000.
What's the normal fine for penalty for books and records not being on premises? Isn't it 1,500?
If this was a non-calendar item, just with that one charge, it would be $1,500, correct?
Yeah. I'm willing to do 1,500.
Commissioner Fan?
1,500 is okay.
All
Yes,
right,
1,500 is okay.
All right, 1,500.
Next item, 383, 225 West 14th Street, Tavern, Court.
This is after hearing 2 charges, focal point for police attention on 7/6/2019 and a failure to supervise on July 6, 2019. There is disorderly premise in their adverse history, as well as a failure to comply for unlit emergency exit signs. Both charges are sustained.
This licensee had some adverse history in 2017, and then they have a disorderly also in 2017. I'm at 9,000.
This place says they don't even allow patrons inside the place until 11:30. Their counsel makes the case that to the extent the second charge is duplicative of the charge number one, I don't know if I agree with that or not.
Yeah, Commissioner Ford, I think you're reading the wrong letter,
Well, actually,
or he sent us the wrong letter.
no. The reference to what's not open until 11:30 is the place next door, up and down.
Yes, this is right next to a nightclub. That's what he's referring to.
Oh, up and down next door. Yes, you're right. I'm sorry. Okay.
That was the licensee offered a defense that the problems here were not
Of his
doing, but rather the next door club, and that defense was not credited by the ALJ as the ALJ sustained the charges.
Okay. I would do 5,000.
Okay, 5,000.
5,000, sustain both charges.
Next item, 384, Brooklyn Diesel Bar LLC. The application for on-premises liquor license.
I am confused by the hours request here. The materials had a lot of different conflicting information about what the applicant is really asking for. It could be just like that there's time lag between emails being sent and ultimately what maybe the applicant like sort of scale back his request, because the email that was sent by community board suggests that he was asking for 4 a.m. for the regular bar and the coffee shop and for the live music to go until midnight. But then our summary suggests that he was only asking for 2 a.m. On the weekends.
So the way
And
I
there's
read
12 and 1 and 2. It's just, I'm not sure what they're asking for here.
So the way I read this myself, and you're right, there are certain things that contradict each other in there. I think they were going for 4 o'clock in the beginning. It appears, although I did not see anything from the community board, that the community board entered into stips with them about everything except the hours of closure. And the community board wants 12 a.m. weeknights and 1 a.m. on the weekends. And it seems like the applicant, based on what I've read, has reduced their 4 a.m. request to 2 a.m. on all nights.
And Commissioner Fan, the coffee shop is not part of their licensed premise. It's a separate.
It was initially, but there was a lot of changes made, which may have caused a confusion. A lot of changes made by the applicant as far as what they wanted to license after dealing with the licensing examiner, realizing that certain things could not be done.
So really, it sounds like the only thing that the community board is not in line with them on is the closing hours, and then there's really no description of when they want that courtyard to close either, which obviously
normal hours.
They want it on the normal. The community board's agreed on the normal hours.
The community board hasn't. That's what the applicant.
Has asked for whatever we close the bar at, we close them at, and the community board is fine with if we give them the community board hours that they can close it then.
I see no stipulations around that. Yes.
So this is a entertainment space, 48 employees plus 1 to 6 security guards, and principals to manage. He wants recorded DJ, jukebox, live karaoke, music, and dancing. Will use promoters. there's an apartment upstairs that apparently is going to be used by a superintendent of some kind. The menu to me seems very vague because it looks like it's the exact menu from the applicant's other licensed location.
Yes.
And they are going to have an event space with a pool table, 3 bars, 2 customer bars, 1 service bar. This is a relatively big place.
And it's surrounded by residences as well. They want the hours till 2:00 every night. I don't know. I would not allow that. Maybe till midnight during the week, and maybe Thursday, Friday, and Saturday till 2. And see how things go in a year. And the backyard space, the community board is just okay with that being whatever is.
No, it's actually a front yard.
And it looks like it's not.
It's not. It's actually a courtyard in the middle of the venue, so there is other space around it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of an enclosed premise with that courtyard in the middle of the licensed premise. It's not separate from the building itself.
I mean, the diagrams that they submitted were absolutely useless.
Yeah.
There's a picture of the courtyard.
It looks like they told the community board they're not using it except for people to go outside to smoke. Is that incorrect, Adam?
Nope, that's accurate.
Oh, that's okay.
Is it part of the licensed premise? Do they
It is.
They do have it licensed?
Yeah. Yeah, I'd essentially worked with this applicant directly to get them into compliance with what would be appropriate. So as Tom mentioned, there was several edits made to the diagrams in the licensed premise because we helped walk them through what would make this licensable outside of the stipulations on the items.
All right, is this picture plan?
All right, then I might be willing to go to 1 during the week and 2 on the Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. That's how I'm going to go. That's how I'm going to roll it.
And the other conditions that the community board wants?
Yes, should be part of the license. Yes.
Commissioner
So
Pham?
the community board agreed to promoters.
Well, that apparently, but that doesn't
Because
mean
it's not
doesn't
mentioned.
mean we have to.
Yeah, it's not mentioned. They don't talk about it, and there's no official letter. I'm a little surprised.
Yeah, they didn't really explain exactly what they agreed to, unfortunately.
Aye. Okay.
So, Commissioner Fan, then, are you ready to vote?
Yes, I vote in the affirmative for this to be a bar tavern with 4 to 8 employees and 1 to 6 security personnel as needed. I'm going to vote in the affirmative of limited usage of the outdoor courtyard that's in the middle of the facility, that it would be used for only smoke breaks and getting air. And I'm going to only allow this if there's ample soundproofing and that doors are closed at all times. I'm going to agree with Commissioner Ford on the hours, which is 1 a.m. On Friday, Saturday. No, 2 a.m. Right, Commissioner Ford? Commissioner Ford,
I said 1 a.m. I said 1 a.m. Sunday through Wednesday and 2 a.m. Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Okay, So 2 a.m. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and 1 a.m. Sunday through Wednesday.
Right.
And no third party for promoters. No promoters, but all music requests are in the affirmative. Recorded music, DJ, jukebox, karaoke, live music, and patron dancing.
Commissioner Ford, are you okay with those other conditions set forth by Commissioner Pham?
Yes, and no bar on the outside deck. I mean, you can take your drinks out there and stuff like that, but no service out there.
I don't think.
Yes.
I'm going to say no drinks out there. I mean, they're saying they don't want to use it, then they're not going to use it.
That's fine with me too. No drinks then.
Are you okay with everything else that was?
Yeah, no, and make clear, no use of promoters.
All right. So I think we're all set then. All right. Next item, 385, A&P Liquor Inc. This is a package store application.
Package store application in Nassau County, 614 square feet, 4 stores within 1.1 miles. The closest store is 0.3 miles. And we have one protest from, I
Closest
believe
store.
it's North Shore, the closest store, right?
Yeah. So, but they've been doing over 2 million, 2.4, 2.2 almost as of last November.
We did not get sales numbers from the second closest store. We did get the others.
Yeah. I didn't have a problem with this. It's only 614 square feet, like you said.
Yes. This area is a walking sort of touristy area, so I am going to vote in the affirmative. Because the 2 closest stores are both either going up or presumably going up in sales.
I vote to approve as well.
I vote to approve.
All right, the next item I have is 386, Malar Project East Village, LLC.
So this is a restaurant on First Avenue in Manhattan, 8 to 15 employees, no security. Principals will manage, but also employ a manager, and there will be recorded music only. The neighbors and the CB object strongly.
Community board says they can't approve. They said their concerns haven't been addressed, and the ALJ agrees. They don't have any adverse history. They've been licensed since what, like January 2016, like 3 years? 17, 18, 19, almost 4, I'm sorry.
Now this is currently open as an restaurant wine.
Right.
And they're looking to change it over. They do not have history, but the community board says there has been problems, although none of them appear to have been reported to us.
Yeah.
So here's my read on the situation. I think that it's definitely bad for the licensees that the 500-foot hearing came out against them. While I think that the community board is doing its job when it's holding this licensee, feet to the fire with things that the neighbors are complaining about, but I get a sense that the substance of the complaints has nothing to do with the liquor license or anything like that. It's probably more building related, that the licensees probably cannot be held to be responsible. It's probably their landlord, the responsibility to do some of these fixes and sort of limit the disturbance. So having said that, I'm going to vote in the affirmative. I don't think these people are bad operators. You know, I think they have a respectable business, and it should be supported. They're switching from restaurant line to on-premise. I don't think there's going to be a huge change in the way they're actually running their business.
Commissioner Ford?
Not that I don't agree with Commissioner Fan, and there's tons of letters of support for them, petition signatures for support. But the community board says they can't approve it because the concerns haven't been addressed, and the ALJ agrees. So at this point, anyway, I would vote to deny.
Chairman Bradley?
So, I mean, I think I agree with Commissioner Fan. It's obvious that none of the complaints deal with their operations, at least that I can tell. And it appears that their biggest concern from the residents is the fact that they're getting noise and vibration from the business's ventilation system, which is really a building issue more than any type of operating issue on the part of whether they have wine or liquor. So I'm going to vote to approve because they do appear to be a good operator. They've been in business for 4 years, and from what they have no history with us, and I am not aware of any complaints they have with us either. So I'll vote to approve.
Okay, the next item is 387 NY Discount Wine and Liquor Corp. That is being held over to April 15th. Next item after that, 388 Woody Hall Inc. This is a disciplinary matter. It's a default.
5 technical violations, locked exits, blocked exits, 2 unlicensed security guard charges, and 1 charge for the emergency exit sign being out. And we have they have a history of 2 disorderly premises from 2018.
I am at 5,000.
Commissioner Ford?
This is a catering license, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. I'll go with 5,000 as well.
5,000.
5,000, okay. Next item, 389 Bounce Cafe Inc.
This is after hearing 2 charges, failure to display license was dismissed, and the second charge, failure to supervise, on June 19th of 2019 was sustained. They have no adverse history with us.
I'm at 5,000.
Commissioner Ford?
I was at 1,500.
Chairman Bradley?
Why didn't we do
Only because
The security guard was drunk.
My guess is that by the time we heard, this is an educated guess, by the time we heard about it, we didn't have the evidence that would meet the Cafe Concerto standard for underage. But there was apparently that event was what the ALJ relied on in the failure to supervise charge.
And we didn't charge unlicensed security guard either.
I'm not sure about why we didn't, but
all right, I'll go with 5,000, Commissioner. Can't have the security guards loaded.
Right. Commissioner Ford, you're still at 15?
No, I'll go with the 5,000. I saw that. I made a point that the security guard had dilated pupils and had the smell of alcohol in his breath, so I missed that. Yeah, I'll go with 5,000.
The next item is 390, 394, and 446-0 have been held over to April 1st. Okay, next 391, the Grand NYC Inc.
The 6 charges after hearing for establishment on First Avenue in Manhattan. First 3 charges are dismissed by the ALJ. The last 3 are sustained. All charges are the first two charges are failure to post warning signs, and the third charge that was dismissed was a health regulation. The other three that were sustained are all failure to comply with local regs.
All safety violations.
Yes. It looks like this did not go great for us. I'm at 1,000.
Commissioner Ford?
I'll do 1,000 as well.
1,000.
Next item, 392, Canam Lounge, Inc.
No contest default, failure to comply with local regulations. The licensee is currently operating under SAPA.
I'm at letter of warning. I'm sorry. I voted before you finished. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that.
Yeah, it was a fire extinguisher. I'll do letter of warning too.
Letter of warning.
Next item, 393, Sushi Nakazawa, LLC.
This is CNC for $2,500 for 3 charges.
I will accept for extension of premise, unauthorized alteration, and unauthorized additional bond, $2,500.
Which number are we on? Which number?
393.
Omakasplay.
Yeah. I haven't been to her. It's really good.
And I'm
393.
393.
Yes.
Oh, oh yeah. 2,500. Yes.
All right, next item, 395 and 396, Lazo Bros Convenience Store and Courier Corp.
This is 2 proceedings, 4 charges in the first proceeding, 1 charge in the second proceeding. There's a CNC for $10,000.
10,000 accept.
10,000 accept.
So,
Next item, 397, 450 Los Sociodelic Grocery Corp.
1 charge of untaxed cigarettes. They have a adverse history of a charge of untaxed cigarettes. The CNC is $7,500.
7,500 accept.
Accept.
So,
398, Harrow's Place, Inc.
This is a Queen bar with a sale to minor charge in October of 2018 with a CNC of $6,000. There are two failure to comply noise charges from 2018 and 2019, meaning 1 from each year. And it's a CNC of $6,000.
All right. I'm going to accept 6,000.
6,000 accept.
Accept.
Next item, 399, Mikasita Lounge, Inc.
This is a CNC at $3,500 for a failure to supervise charge in February of 2019. The licensee does have some history. Disorderly in 2018 and improper notification on a renewal in 2019.
3,500 accept.
Accept.
Commissioner Ford?
3,500 accept.
Okay. Next item is 400, Alabaster Wine and Liquor, Inc.
This is a new package store application in Ozone Park, New York. We've got 4 stores in 0.6 miles. The applicant says he's actually just replacing a store that closed right down the street from the location he's applying for. We got a letter from his attorney, March 19, 2020, laying that argument out, as well as other arguments.
Is that true?
Is it true, Adam?
What is true?
that he's replacing a store that closed 170 feet.
The letter says that she was working in that store.
There's a note on your memo in the finance section before the list of the closest stores.
Yeah.
That license expired in May 2019.
And according to the letter, the landlord was not willing to sign a lease with a new tenant, so this woman who was working there looked for another store.
So the answer to your question is yes, it's accurate.
Great. There's no protest to the store. I was going to vote in the affirmative, and I will vote in the
Yeah, and most of the sales seem to be holding their own, so I would vote to approve as well.
Chairman Brown.
I'm going to vote to approve for one because it's replacing what appears to be a closed store. And two, it's going to be an open store, and all four of the surrounding stores are bulletproof from our records.
All right, next item, 401-1353 Restaurant Corp. is being held over till April 15th. That was a late adjournment.
Oh, 401 is holdover?
Yes, that was the one I got last night. Next item, 402, Creekside Wine and Liquor Barn, LLC.
Johnsonville.
Yeah, I think that just based on the distances here, we don't really need to talk about this one. The closest store is 9.5 miles away. So he's going out on his own here. There's four.
That's as accurate you can say about that area. He's on his own.
There's 4 stores within 12 miles. The closest 9.5 miles away. That clearly is the definition of public convenience. So I'll vote to approve.
Absolutely, I vote to approve as well.
I vote to approve as well.
403, Showplace Entertainment LLC, being held over to April 1st. 404, which is Elmer Kennedy LLC. This is the on-premises application is being held over to 415. The related matter 405, which is the change of method of operation for the restaurant wine license, also being held over to 415. 406, Triangle Eatery and Bar LLC, also being held over to 41. 407, Rainier Corp, not being held over, so you get to vote on that.
This is a CNC. Excuse me. Failure to comply on licensed security guards, failure to conform to the application, which was that they had security guards and they shouldn't. This offers $3,000. They have a disorderly premise and their adverse history.
I am okay. Top 3,000.
Commissioner Ford?
I'll take 3,000 as well.
I'll accept.
Okay. Next item, 408, 409, 244 West 14th LLC. That's being held over to April 1st. Also, you have a revised conditional offer that you'll be considering at that time.
Okay. Is that up and down?
Next item, 410, 73 HN Grocery Corp. This is a default.
This is a no contest default, improper conduct, untaxed cigarettes. They have another untaxed cigarette charge as well as sale of minor in their adverse history.
Wait, 410? Oh, sorry.
The last fine
I was at
imposed, they did not pay, and we had to suspend the license.
I was at cancel. I mean, should we just cancel this thing?
Yes. Cancel
Yes.
on.
I'm sorry, Tom. What did you say about 408? Should I keep that, or is that not?
Yes, that's going to be held over. The
408 and 409.
Okay.
Right. The bond is not going to be available, so this will just be cancellation.
Cancel for the record.
Okay, so it's the 4-1 held over.
Yes. And then for 410 is cancellation.
Okay.
Next item, 411, Jc
Yes.
Hospitality Llc.
And, you know, every year this place comes here with the same charge. Last year they paid, last March, they paid us $55,000. And we outlawed the music and no outdoor lines, which we then, after they came in and asked us to reconsider and set up security situations, we allowed the music to continue with the town's okay. And they still cannot follow that one simple direction.
2,500 is that.
You're going to take that?
If you don't want to.
No, that's fine. No, I didn't hear you. That's fine.
No, I mean, at this point, it's like.
I mean, all we can do is
I'm only
10,000.
concerned because the letter says that they haven't had any other problems for the rest of the summer.
Well, we didn't call the town, but if we get another one, I will. All right.
Is there other things in the pipeline, or
No.
is that not really? No. Okay.
No. And given the situation, there's no reason to prolong this one. So go ahead.
Yeah, I vote in the affirmative.
Commissioner Ford?
This place has paid almost $100,000 in fines and penalties. Right now, they'd be closed right now anyway, wouldn't they? Yes. This is a summer place.
They could be doing takeout. I don't know.
No, it's a summer.
Right.
A summer
Oh yeah,
business.
it's a summer place. They're not open.
Yeah, I'll take the 25 as well, reluctantly.
I'll take the 2,500 as well, but that's only because of the current situation.
Next item
Exactly.
is 412 Glass Ceiling Events LLC being held over to the 15th. Next item, 413 Adega Wine and Spirits Inc. The change of method of operation for a package store.
So this package store from 2013 apparently had significant restrictions on the products that it could sell, and one of the reasons was that the closest package store was going to be affected by that. So the board at the time put those stipulations on it. They're asking to release them from some of those conditions because that closest package store has moved and is no longer the closest package store, but is now the fourth closest package store at 0.4 miles away. I'm sorry, the third closest at 0.4 miles away. They have, in the supplemental material, they did give us a list of things that they would continue not to sell, which many are.
That's what they're. That's not what I understand.
Yeah, this is what he's saying he won't sell. They want to be completely unrestricted, but they're willing to put these in.
Oh, I misread that. I thought this was because we don't even have the old list.
Yeah, I looked. I cannot find the old list. I think it was submitted at the board meeting at the time and never put into the record.
All right, well, we have a new list then.
Yeah.
So, you guys good with this?
I mean, given the situation, I guess I just have to take his word for it that
Well, no,
the
we know
restrictions
that
were placed.
Oh, no. The restrictions were placed.
We just don't know what.
Right.
products they could
The
carry.
problem is
Why
that-
were they placed, Tom? I mean, I can't even ask you to think that you actually remember this case back in the day on 2013.
Well,
But
I watched
basically-
the board. I watched the board meeting.
Yeah, Tom wasn't
Okay.
even part of the board then, or the secretary.
Okay, so
No, I was
what,
still.
can
I was still going.
you briefly describe what happened? I'm sorry.
No, this was a compromise imposed. I think the applicant may have actually offered it or at least agreed to it. That because of the opposition and the proposed business model, it indicated it was not going to carry this whole list of products that were being offered by the other stores. So that was, and that still happens now. It would happen regularly with Chairman Rosen. There'd be this big list.
Wait, I thought I invented that.
No,
Just kidding. I'm just kidding.
but so the only problem is that I found is that in looking through the file, the list was never put into the record. It was I think it was introduced at the board meeting, but never made into the file. All right. I was either there. I may have been there as a special counsel, but I didn't just go back and watch the meeting. So that is why there is this list.
Okay. So with lack of better information, I'm going to vote in the affirmative to remove the restrictions that the store has.
So we're just changing the restriction, right?
No, I'm asking. That's what I'm going to ask her. They asked for complete lifting of the restrictions, but they're willing to live. If not that, they're willing to live with certain restrictions that were in the supplemental material. There's a list of products that they've offered not to sell. If that's so, which are you voting for?
I'm sorry. Say that again.
They would like us to lift all restrictions. However, in the supplemental material that they gave us on Friday, there is a list of items that they agreed they would not carry if we were not willing to give them a complete lifting of the conditions.
So you can
I don't care. I don't care. I think that isn't the directive right now, like to have less lists and just let them run their businesses. I don't think that we need this new list.
Okay.
I don't think so. What do you guys think?
Well, we're going to find out. Commissioner Ford?
I'm looking on the map. I see where Adega Wines and Spirits is located. And there's another red thumbtack there that doesn't have a name on it. Is that a Lingam? Is that what it is? Allegan?
That's probably it. Yes, they're close by.
So, but this store is only 170 feet from where. So these two stores are that close right now. Am I reading this correctly?
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why the restrictions were put on.
They're 0.2 miles away from each other.
Okay.
From what our numbers indicate.
But I think what the commissioner is referring to is that if you look on the...
No, I see the map. He says it's 482 feet, but we got it at 0.2 miles away. So either that's a straight line that you can't just go on, or...
Yeah. I'd be willing to approve under the... I don't want to keep going down this road. I'd be willing just to approve the class change.
As am I. Just lift the restrictions. Okay.
Yep, I'm with you.
Next item is 414, which is Brooklyn Fine Wines, Inc. That has been held over now to 415. Next item after that, 415, Pinhead Shannon's, Inc.
I do want to let the members know that there was a mistake on the short memo. There is no opposition by Community Board 2. There is no opposition at all. Additionally, in the notes section, it states that there would be karaoke, but no live or recorded music and no dancing. There will be live and recorded music and dancing.
There will be live music. Oh, there'll be live music, recorded music, karaoke, and dancing?
That's yes.
Okay. And this applicant was on a temporary license that was basically revoked because of his operations and because he used promoters and turned the place into a nightclub right after he got the temp, and then his application that was attached to that temp was denied. So this is a new application.
So
I was wondering why.
2 months later.
Yeah. I was wondering why Manhattan Community Board 2 was objecting to his Schenectady.
Yes, that's administrative error.
So are they operating now as proposed?
They did not get another temp, I don't believe.
They did.
They did.
It says the temporary permit was issued again in October 2019.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And so they were operating from October until...
We have not gotten any word that they're not operating correctly.
Not operating right now very much at all, to tell you the truth, so probably so.
Right.
I'm willing to give him a break, and I'm willing to approve. We did give him a permit back, so.
Okay.
Commissioner Fan?
Yes, I agree with Commissioner Ford with whatever boundaries he decides to set.
Do you have any boundaries, Commissioner Ford?
Yeah, I don't like the idea of promoters. Where's that again? Crap, where's that?
He didn't
He
answer
says he says no DJs or promoters.
Okay,
wants
no
the
DJs,
dancing
no
in the
promoters.
that, which is what he told us last time as well, by the way.
Right.
Under oath.
Yeah, all right,
Yeah.
I'll agree with them. No DJs, no promoters.
Are they sworn in the 500-foot here?
I think so.
Are they? Do you know?
I believe.
Sworn under oath?
No.
They're not?
I'll have to check. I know.
All right, so it's approved. Good luck.
Next item is 416. Victor Wine Merchants, Inc.
This is a package store in Victor, New York, which is outside of Rochester. We have a supplemental material from the applicant's attorney. The closest store is 3.2 miles. The furthest, the fourth closest is 4.5 miles. So you got 4 stores within 4.5 miles. We have one protest from one of the closest stores, and the store is going to be 4,456 total square feet, 3,300 retail.
So
Is it? Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Is this store in fact replacing one that was there before?
Yes.
It's right near
Yes.
Eastview Mall. Okay.
Yes, it was
and it's
closed.
right near.
There was a license there until June of 2018. It was a liquor store.
Okay, and it's right near Eastview Mall, which is the biggest mall in that particular area of Victor. It's right off of 490. Go ahead, Commissioner Fannin.
So Commissioner Edmonds raised this point that the applicant lives on Long Island. And so it's a little hard to understand how he plans to manage this permit full time.
He says he's going to leave.
He's going to move there?
Yeah, well, I don't think he's commuting, so he says he's going to manage this premise full time and leave his current job, which is a manager at a Suffolk County liquor store, Uncle Danny's Cellar. But I do agree with you. It is somewhat odd.
Yeah, because he only started living at this address on November of 2018. I mean, maybe he is moving up to Rochester to run the store. This is why it would be helpful to really have counsel. You know, it's like 2 extremes here. Either he's a front and he's not going to run it, or he's planning to move, and if I deny it, you know, I'm really screwing someone's livelihood.
I think based on the application, you can certainly assume that he would tell us he's going to move. Whether that is accurate or not, I leave that up to you. But I think he definitely is trying to tell us he's moving up there.
Okay. Well, in which case, I will vote to approve because the closest store is 3 miles away.
And I vote to approve as well. I mean, it's replacing a store that was there before, and it is right next to a huge mall. So I vote to approve.
Next item then is 417. Arkham Fuel.
Did the chairman approve that as well?
The chairman
Right.
jumped in early and approved.
All right.
Unanimous.
So this is a grocery store in Little Falls, New York, looking for a beer wine product license. Previous license here was canceled. The prior licensee that was canceled holds an interest in the applicant's business through a note that he loaned money to the applicant, loaned money to the applicant to buy the business. And he's also the landlord.
Yeah, I am not comfortable with this. I mean, for things that there are further questions, is there a way we can develop a system to hold over items and go ask the questions, or is that not part of the process?
We could hold it over, and Secretary's office could send a letter to the applicant saying that the members have these questions. Please submit something in writing addressing the questions. But we would need to be.
I would agree.
We need to be specific about what the questions are so they get answered properly.
And really, what's the question you're going to ask? Because would you be satisfied with any answer that he gave you, I guess is what I'm asking.
Yeah, I know. That's the problem with not having a live interaction and really,
Well, even on a live interaction, would you be satisfied with the question he would, with the answer he would give you to the question that I think you're going to ask?
Yeah, no, well,
But we can do it if you want.
no,
We should stay on the record with the reasons.
For the vote?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we
It's
will.
gonna be a vote.
Yeah.
I mean, we haven't.
I think she's
all right.
something.
I think that since this applicant already has other gas stations, I'm going to have to go with thinking that this is a business that he's acquiring and ignore the fact that, the landlord is basically involved here, who's the prior licensee. I'm going to vote to approve.
Commissioner Ford.
Yeah, I think I will too. It's not like it's the only business he has like this, and it isn't out of the ordinary that a previous licensee owns the building and is trying to get a tenant in there. So I would vote to approve as well.
I'd vote to deny. I'm not comfortable with the landlord being the former licensee, but it's granted. Good luck.
Next item is good luck to who?
The guy they're watching him.
418. Siendo El Rey Corp.
For the Albany cashier who just got that.
Yeah, this is a new on-premise liquor license in the Bronx, 500-foot case. It's going to be a bar tavern, 4 employees, no security, recorded music only. The application was an application at this location was previously denied in February of 2019. The principal on this application has serious adverse history, including a cancellation with the SLA, and he failed to disclose that cancellation on this application in his personal questionnaire.
So, Adam, can you explain to me, in your letter it says, based on the record, there's sufficient grounds to overturn the disapproval? The reconsideration request has been granted. You'll have to refile.
I think there were some questions he didn't submit.
Yeah, it looks like there was some additional information that they needed to do that.
But that didn't address the.
Right, there were still outstanding issues that we needed clarification on. So when the request for reconsideration came in, we may have gotten the information that we needed to satisfy that, but there were still additional questions that brought it here. So it looks like, based on information that was provided on the questionnaire that wasn't originally disclosed. So they acknowledge that they did have a previous application, but they didn't disclose the history behind it.
Got it.
All right, I'm going to vote to deny.
I think I will vote to deny as well. I'll vote to deny as well.
And I'm going to vote to deny that there's a significant adverse history with this applicant with our agency, and then whether intentional or an oversight, he failed to disclose the cancellation that he already has with us.
Next item is 419 Far Shot USA Corp.
This is a bar here in Albany. It's an axe throwing facility, and they're asking for a tavern wine. The method of operation would permit a maximum of 2 drinks to anyone that is engaging in the axe throwing. The previous license here was revoked in 2019 in February, and the license prior to that was canceled in December of 2014, both after summary suspensions. I believe they were both full OPs, and they were definitely different method of operations than this place.
And this is on permit too.
This is on a temp right now, right?
Since the business has no adverse history and seems to be operating fine with a temporary license or temporary permit, I'm going to vote in the affirmative. However, I'm going to add a requirement of significant distance between the service of the alcohol and the throwing of the axe or knives or whatever, or archery that is actually happening within the facility. I can't tell from the way they're drawings, like how many feet I can actually set, and so I don't know. I would leave that open for discussion.
Commissioner Fan, as part of as licensing, before these matters get to the board, my goal is to ensure that there are no tables or bystanders consuming with their backs turned to any of the area where this activity is being conducted in. So that's part of the initial supervision plan that we were addressing, to make sure that there's no bystanders who are potentially in the way of things coming backwards towards them.
Okay, that sounds good. I trust your judgment as to how we frame that, but how are you actually framing that in writing? Is just you don't have tables like next to the axe throwing?
So, people are standing there. Obviously, it's hard to restrict that, but to help deter them from doing that, we're ensuring that there aren't tables and chairs directly behind these lanes where these activities are happening.
Yeah, but what if someone is standing there with their back to the axe throwing target and holding a drink and is chatting away and not realizing that the person throwing I don't know. I mean, how is it screened off?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a legitimate concern, obviously, that we all share. Unless if you're suggesting, like what you're suggesting, we enforce that they're 2 separate areas. I can let you know.
No, I'm more suggesting like people are not allowed to bring drinks like into the axe throwing area, which doesn't really do anything. It's a different concern from what your concern is.
I'm pretty sure they're not. That's part of the, where do I read it? They're not allowed.
They're not bringing
with
drinks
alcohol.
into the lanes?
No, they're not. I read that someplace.
Okay.
Let's see if I can find it real quickly.
Those are the targets there.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like there's fencing.
There is on the sides, yes.
Yes, it's contained, but there's nothing in the back. It's not a completely sealed off cage.
Right. Oh, here.
Each participant is allowed a maximum of 2 drinks, still be able to participate. Where does it say? We teach 2 hands, 12 feet away from target.
So, Commissioner Fan, do you have the pictures of the
Lanes.
The lanes in your application packet, to the last 2 pages? I mean, that's generally what the setup is.
And so Adam is trying to get them to get rid of those long tables there. Is that right or no?
Yes. So, I mean, those tables and the tables on the side, those tables on the side, on the back, directly behind the lane, should only be used for no alcohol consumption should be happening on those tables.
That's just for the participants.
That's for the participants, yes.
Okay. All right.
And that to the right there in the second to last picture, I think that's the closest bar, which looks like it looks like it's at least 10 to 15 feet away from the back of the 2 axe throwing places. I don't get it myself.
So, Commissioner Fan, then, are you good with approving it?
Yes.
Commissioner Ford?
I'll approve as well.
Chairman Bradley?
Yes.
And Commissioner Finn, just for the record, those tables will not be allowed directly behind those cages, and we'll make sure that the licensee is aware of that.
Okay, but they are, by what we're approving, they're allowed to bring drinks to that area, which is directly behind the axe throwing, and it doesn't look like there's any kind of division there.
They would be, but in theory, they wouldn't have a table to put anything on, so I guess they put it on the floor. But we are not allowing tables directly behind the lanes, so that should discourage people from having the drinks there. And based on the method of operation we've seen, the people directing the axe throwing wouldn't allow people to be throwing with a drink in their hand.
Okay. All right.
All right, then the next item is 420, Sunny Village Wine and Liquor Corp.
The liquor store in Brooklyn, 3 employees, 1 of 2 principals will be there daily, 1 protest letter, 4 stores within 0.6 miles. The closest store is 0.1 miles away, which is close. The store is going to be 1,761 square feet, 986 of it will be retail.
The closest store is less than 700 feet, but it's a kosher store, and to their point, it's closed many days of the year. Applicant says he'll carry less than 2% kosher product.
Although that is the only store that protested.
Yes. But he said the store's closed 52 days a year. So
they don't want them to tempt the kosher people into going into a non-kosher place.
Then they're not really kosher.
no. I mean, for the same reason we would grant a kosher license for being unique, for the same reason I could see that could work to someone else's advantage for not being kosher. So. Look at the figures here really quick. Closest store numbers are definitely going up.
And then we got no responses from 2 of them. Which is not helpful.
Oh, Orlando, the second closest. That's the kosher store. I'm sorry.
No, he's the closest. We just have him listed differently.
Oh, okay. Oh, I see. Yes, you're right.
And then we licensed one in February of 2019, which is the 3rd closest. Who then decided not to give us sales numbers. That was nice of them.
Even though they have the benefit of sales numbers to get their store.
Are we ready to vote then?
Yes.
I have a question. If we vote yes on these liquor stores, can they, in theory, open while this coronavirus situation is ongoing?
Yes.
Once they meet the conditions of approval, just like any other applicant.
Liquor stores are not restricted right now under the
Right. Well, that's good news. I'm going to vote in the affirmative on this one.
Commissioner Ford?
We did license another store about half a mile away. And we don't have any numbers for it. And the other one we don't have any numbers for it. I was going to vote for it, but with unknown for the 3rd and 4th one, I'm going to vote to deny.
I'm going to vote to approve for the same reason. The stores of the 2 closest are going up consistently. The 3rd and 4th store decided not to send their numbers in, so I'm going to assume they're doing the same. And the closest store is a what appears to be mostly kosher store. So, as Commissioner Ford pointed out, we would probably grant the kosher store. So why wouldn't we grant the non-kosher store to compete with the kosher store? So I think there's public advantage.
All right, the next item, 421, Corellia Azteca Sibiana, Inc.
This is a new on-premise liquor license in the Bronx. The previous license was canceled because it operated as a nightclub and should have been a restaurant. We disapproved the next application because the method of operation was a nightclub. They want a restaurant with 4 employees, no music, principal will manage. There's no opposition.
Okay, if this is a real restaurant, I'm going to vote in the affirmative with floor employees, no music, no dancing, no outside service, and principals will manage. No manager, no security guard, no promoters. And I will give the hours until 2 a.m.
Commissioner Ford.
I will vote to approve under the same terms.
As do I.
All right then. Next item is 422. It's being held over to April 15th. That was a J&W Wine Liquor Corp. Next item after that, 423. 85 Wine Corp. Also being held over to 415. After that, 424. New Hewlett Liquors, Inc. It's a package store removal.
This is a package store in Nassau County looking to move within the same plaza, but is going to triple the size of its store from 1,000 to 3,500.
There's one objection.
Yeah, and we do have an objection from KSN Discount Liquor.
Removal of one store in the strip mall to a larger store in the same mall.
And he was licensed in December of 2018, which would lead me to believe this was always in the works.
So it's still the same close to stores, although the square footage is doubling.
Correct.
Tripling.
Yeah, it's
Tripling.
tripling.
I'm going to vote to. I am very concerned that this tripling of this space is going to sort of take over all the other stores. Do we know why he's trying to move? Is it just like, he's eyeing a bigger space? Or it doesn't seem like there's any reason to need to move. There's no lease issue if they're in the same strip mall, right?
His application just says he's moving because it's a larger space.
Yeah. I'm not yet seeing a reason for it, just because the larger store is 3,000 square feet and would basically make up the square footage of all the closest stores combined. So I'm not that comfortable with it.
Which is what we use the numbers for lawsuits. Do what you want. They may not. I'm just saying that's a tough, pure case to win.
We can put a stipulation on the amount of square feet.
I don't think that's what he wants, though, because he's obviously looking to sign a new lease.
No, this was my and obviously we don't have the information, but my guess is this was in the works from the start.
Yeah. In which case, I'm going to vote to deny.
Commissioner Ford?
That closest is couple of 100,000. Next closest is over $1 million. I'm going to vote to deny as well.
And Chairman Bradley.
I would deny. It's basically like adding another store to the mix, in my view. So I don't see any public convenience and advantage to adding 2,500 new square feet of liquor store.
And the next item, 425 GMM on Main Inc. to default.
This is default from a restaurant in Erie County for a Veiling.
I'm going to cancel for the record.
Just cancellation?
Here's a bond.
There's still a bond there. Yeah, the license has been surrendered. I forgot to say that.
Canceling bond.
Cancel and bond.
Cancel bond.
Next item, 426 1920 MF Rest Inc.
This is a Nassau, what was supposed to be a restaurant, but apparently was not operating as one. It's a conditional no contest cancellation.
This one, there's no bond.
Right, so it's been taken on the last violation.
So cancel for the record.
Commissioner Fan?
Yes, cancel for the record.
Commissioner Ford?
426, cancel for the record.
Next item, 427 JAWH Properties LLC gets a default.
Steuben County on-premise, sale for consumption off-premise, books and records not on-premise, and extension of premises.
No
This is a
spot.
new license. Yeah, this is of some concern. This is a default. It's a new license from August of 18. This guy is the bartender is serving to-go drinks. You know, he's keeping his books and records at home, and he's servicing out of his outside patio when that's not part of the application. So this licensee is definitely of some concern. I'm at 7,500.
Commissioner Ford?
Uh, 7,500.
Chairman Bradley?
I was at a bit lower than that. Why don't, given that it's a new licensee and given that we know he's not open, can anybody do 4, 3?
Yep, I'm okay with that. I can do 3.
All right.
3 is fine. I was even willing to hold it over if it made any difference to give him a chance. But
I don't want to pull anybody in, given that we're not supposed to be near anybody. We're all 6 feet away from each other in
We're
this
not
room.
pulling anybody
I know.
anyway.
I know.
All right, the next
All right.
item, 428 Selberg Bar and Grill Inc. is put off till April 1st. 429 El Nuevo Morazan Grocery Corp.
This is a CNC cancel and bond for 4 charges. I'll accept.
Commissioner Pham?
Yes, cancel and bond.
Commissioner Ford?
canceling bond.
Next item, 430 Centaur Oil Inc.
Sale to minor 18 and under. He has a previous sale to minor in 2014. It's a CNC for $6,500.
Commissioner Fan
Yes, 6,500.
and Commissioner Ford.
6,500.
I'll accept.
Next item, 431 Gary Cole is put off till April 1st. 432 Aaron Rose Plenty.
This is after hearing 5 charges, sustained charge 1, dismissed 2, sustained 3, dismissed 4, sustained 5. The sustained charges are failure to comply with maximum occupancy, non-bona fide in March of 2019 for no food, and a failure to supervise. The licensee does have significant adverse history.
And the license is expired, and there's no bond available.
Oh, because you got the 35-day suspension and bond. So we fined him in December of 2000. I'm sorry, July of 2019, and no, I'm sorry. We fined him in December of 2018, and he did not pay. So in July of 2019.
No. That was the July is the board date. So that's
why would we do the 35-day suspension?
Because you imposed at that date you imposed the civil penalty, which converted to the alternate penalty later on.
Oh, okay.
Yes, so he didn't pay.
And he still hasn't.
Hasn't paid. Well, no. Then
He doesn't know. He doesn't.
Then he got the alternate penalty. Did not have a lawyer at the hearing.
And since then, the license expired.
And then the license expired.
And there's no renewal pending.
So I don't know that.
Oh, he's probably
gone.
Cancel and bond.
No, just cancel.
Oh, just cancel.
Just cancel.
Commissioner Ford?
Cancel for the record.
And next item, 433, which is TCK LLC, held over to 401.
Can I say something about that one? These next three, 433, 434, and 435, they were both the ALJ dismissed. So can we dismiss them, or you still need to put them over? I mean, if we all agree, or do we need to still put them all over?
Is he right? Is that when you just adjourned a dismissal?
Yeah, it's Palillo.
But Mr. Palillo requested an adjournment of all his cases.
All right, but tell him he's not getting an adjournment until this is over. We're not piling up because he wants to appear on dismissals.
No, he's not appearing. He can't appear.
I know, but do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
These are not going indefinitely.
No, I'm not. There are no one is getting, and just for anybody listening, no one's getting an indefinite adjournment. It's being set down because since we don't know when the meetings will be opened up again, we're not going to hold things in abeyance. They're
Correct.
set down for another date. Period.
Correct.
So
but
this
can
matter,
you understand why a dismissal would need to be set down to another date that he can't appear in?
Mr. Palillo just submitted a number of adjournments for all his matters.
Okay.
Perhaps he wants to write a lengthy letter as to why.
So this is held off to 401. The next one, then, 434, is Mr. Flynn, who did not request an adjournment of his case being dismissed.
Okay. Dismiss charge 1 and 2.
Yes.
Commissioner Fan?
Yes, dismiss.
I'll dismiss.
Commissioner Ford? All right. The next item, also a case that was dismissed, but a blanket request is 435 Ad Restaurant Group, Inc., also being held off to the 1st.
Okay. At least he didn't ask for the 15th.
Next item, 436, Perla de Oriente 2, Inc.
This is a CNC for 6 charges: failure to comply on licensed security guards, unlit emergency exit signs, 2 failure to comply with local regulations, a failure to supervise, and a failure to conform with the application, which is because they had security and they weren't supposed to. I'll accept.
Commissioner Fan?
I'll accept 5,000.
Commissioner Ford?
5,000 accept.
Next item, 437, 236 Wines and Liquors, Inc.
This was a request for reconsideration, which I granted to send to the full board. He's asking for a reduction from a $4,500 civil penalty that he agreed to pay. He asked for the reduction to $3,000, so I sent it up for your consideration. And we recently got a letter that sounds like he would now like no penalty because of the economic situation. Because this recon was in late February or mid-February.
The recon was because.
Yeah, hardship.
Well, he also presented evidence that he's been using this trade name for decades, right?
Correct.
He had offered the higher penalty, assuming that there were 2 charges there. He doesn't really think one of the charges is appropriate.
All right, so I'll dismiss charge 2 and give him $3,000.
3,000.
And dismiss charge 2, Commissioner Fan?
Yep.
Commissioner Ford?
3,000 accept.
And dismiss the second charge as proposed by the chairman.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. Next item, 438. Sal and Mike Inc.
This is a CNC to resolve 7 charges of failure to comply with health regulations. And it's a myriad of,
Pretty gross.
yeah, mouse activity, hand wash sink at the front of the bar without any form of hand drying, contaminated food with black mildew from the ice. Oh, lovely.
What number are you on?
Go to
438.
438.
Hold on a second. I'm sorry.
The license is in safekeeping now. So
Yes.
they just paid New York City Department of Health $13,000 in penalties.
Oh, 438. Okay. 438, 6,000. Okay.
6,000 accept.
439 is a Kanake Inc. That's being held over to 415. 440, 500 Lexington Ave Wine and Liquor Inc. Being held over to 41. Moving on, the next item, 441. Addition Inc. If that's pronounced it correctly.
This is a CNC to resolve 6 charges: failure to conform to the application, books and records not on the retail premises, unauthorized source of purchase, failure to comply with health regulations 3 times. CNC of 4,000.
I would say adicción. Spanish.
Commissioner Fan?
Yes.
Commissioner Ford?
4,000 accept.
The next item.
Do I get to accept?
I thought you did.
No,
Sorry.
I'm just reading it.
Well, you seem so confident. I assume. Next item, 442. Bander Mughali. It's a request for reconsideration.
This is a grocery store in Utica, New York. This
This is a reconsideration.
This was unanimously denied at the full board meeting. The applicant did not show up, but I don't think that was the reason we denied. If I recall, was because he borrowed a significant amount of the purchase price from the former owner. In an interest-free loan.
Right, which he's paying back with in installments.
Yes. Reconsideration is denied.
Commissioner Ford.
I vote to deny reconsideration. I'm still not convinced.
Chairman Bradley.
I vote to deny as well. The former licensee is, in my view, involved in this.
Next item, 443. Mackenzie Catering Corp.
It's a CNC for $5,000 for 4 charges of disorderly premises noise in Freeport, New York.
This is certainly low, but
And they do have adverse history of 3 other disorderly premises for noise.
this is low. But right now, I don't really want to counter a CNC, so I'm gonna accept $5,000.
I'll accept 5,000 as well.
Yeah, I'll accept the 5,000 as well. But to Commissioner Fan's point, I think they should be on notice that if this comes back again when the world is normal, they're probably not going to be operating.
All right, next item is 444, and I should know my Gaelic pronunciation, but Sade Slate.
No, Slante.
Slante?
Yes.
Okay, see, I'm rusty.
You're more Irish than I am.
I am.
So this is a reconsideration for failure to restore the bond. The bond was never restored, so the licensee was canceled. He's asking for reconsideration so he can pay the $500, and the bond has been restored. The $500 is for the failure to restore the bond. I'll accept.
I'll accept as well.
I'll accept.
445. We had this licensee on for another matter earlier. Perla de Oriente 2, Inc.
This is straight no contest for failure to notify us that he was arrested for assault, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Assault with intent to cause physical injury with a weapon, a Class D felony. He didn't notify us of his arrest. I don't think it's been...
We still don't know what happened.
Disposition.
No disposition.
All right. 500.
They were already reduced to misdemeanors. We know that.
They've been reduced to misdemeanors.
According to their representation, we don't have a judgment yet.
If this had gone as a non-calendar CNC, it would have been $1,000.
Yeah, but we just gave this licensee $5,000 in the other matter.
Yeah, I'm fine with 500.
Well.
I was going to go to a letter of warning, so I'll do 500.
Yeah, he actually did. We sometimes send out the letter and they ignore us. This was not a case where he ignored us.
Commissioner
We sent
Ford?
out the letter and
500 okay with you?
Yes, 500 is okay with me. 445, 500.
Next item, 446. Medica Liquor and Wine has been held over to 4-1.
That's what you were talking about?
Next item, we have,
46A.
Oh, okay.
next item we have is 446A, which is 1582 First Avenue Wine and Liquor, Inc.
So this is a liquor store on First Avenue in Manhattan with multiple charges and a CNC of $100,000 to settle the charges.
If you're okay with it, I'm okay with it.
Commissioner Ford?
If council's okay with it, I'm okay with it.
Council's okay with
You
it.
get a vote now?
Well, that's why it was presented to you.
All right, I'll
Yep.
accept.
Short leash, though.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
think
Next
that,
time,
enforcement should be flagged for enforcement,
Yeah.
Next item is 446B, Water Street 2020, Inc.
So this is a Rochester. Oh, we dealt with this. Everybody's familiar with this. We did get a letter from
Yes.
the corporation council that the police department is fine with it.
Yes,
this is a
I'm
nightclub
okay.
in Rochester.
I'm okay to vote in the affirmative. I will allow all the conditions that they mentioned in their application, including cabaret with 50 employees and 15 security guards. Principal will manage and use a manager. There will be karaoke, recorded DJ, and live music with patron dancing. I will go until 2 a.m., but I will not allow promoters, third-party promoters.
Turn? Sorry.
Yes, sir.
I would allow promoters. I think that's the nature of his business, the kind of acts that he's going to bring in. And, he got a really good response from the city and everything, really good backing from them. So As far as the security guards, 15, I would say up to 15 as needed. I wouldn't require it every single time, but as needed, I'd leave them a bit leeway.
And I don't recall offhand the closing hours in Monroe County. If they're
2 o'clock.
2 a.m. All right, so it doesn't. So 2 a.m. that's not a condition. That's just the statute.
Well, I don't know.
That's what it is.
I'm going to agree with Commissioner Fan. No promoters. I mean, the problems they ran into before were because of promoters. If he wants to get bands and DJs, he's going to have to book them himself.
Okay.
Okay.
Next items. 446C, D, E, and F. Vola Corp.
This is a CNC for 4 proceedings. And the CNC is for cancel and bond. I'm not going to read all the charges. You can see them. But there is a small adverse history, which just got larger.
This is cancel and bond. Cancel and bond is that?
Correct.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Cancel and bond.
All right, so we're all accepting the offer?
I am.
Commissioner Ford, you're accepting that, right?
Yes.
And Commissioner Fan?
Yes.
All right. All right, the next item, or items, is 446G, H, and I. Betsis Corp.
So this is actually the same owner as the previous case. Also, multiple charges in 3 separate proceedings. After hearing, in the first proceeding, 1 through 8 is sustained. Number 9 is withdrawn by counsel's office. 10, 11, 12, and 13 are sustained. Second proceeding are all sustained. The third proceeding are sustained.
For the record, this is a case that was adjourned a couple of times by a lawyer who...
So was the one we just had?
Yeah, this one and the other one, and I think we were wondering why he was adjourning his cancel and bond. This is both the same licensee. My guess is that he wanted to argue that he was giving up one place and wanted the other one to stay open, but he didn't put in anything in writing after adjourning this twice.
Now, the other thing I didn't understand is there clearly is an Inspector General case involving Corfu Grill, because the wife appears that she was interviewed by the Inspector General, so she must work for the state in some capacity?
Yes.
Do you know that?
Yes.
That's my assumption from this. I don't
So
have
is
any
that part
further.
of the availing?
Well, she
Yeah.
was involved in the availing. She was on the bank accounts, in the opinion.
Oh, I see. And so that charge was sustained, so that was what the AG was looking, or the IG, I should say. Okay. I mean, I remember the guy, but I don't see how we could keep this open myself.
Or just for clarification, the attorney who's been requesting the adjournments is not the attorney who is the attorney of record. It's a co-counsel. And I've explained to him numerous times that...
What do you mean co-counsel? There's a local attorney that's involved?
There's 2 attorneys, right. The attorney who appeared at the last board meeting and who's also been requesting the adjournments is not the attorney we have in our system as the attorney of record.
But who is the attorney of record?
It's this Mr.
Gleason? Peter Gleason?
With John Lenoir
Yes.
from Austin,
It's
Texas.
Mr. Gleason is the one who's been...
And he's a New York attorney?
Yes. I've explained to him that, as in all cases, we deal with one attorney because we can't be taking multiple requests.
But we didn't get anything from either.
No.
All right.
He was present at the hearing,
Yeah.
Mr. Gleason.
All right. We can vote.
All right, so go ahead. Commissioner Fan on 446G, H, and I.
I'm at 25,000.
Commissioner Ford.
I'm at cancel and bond.
Chairman Bradley.
I'm at cancel and bond to the number of charges here over the course of a month. No, I'm sorry, more than a month. 6 months is overwhelming. There's an availing, there's books and records, sale without the appropriate license, failure to supervise, extension of premises. Everything was sustained. Multiple failure to supervise. I don't see how we could keep this open.
All right, then the next item, 446J, River Valley Corp., being held over to the 15th at the applicant's request. Next item after that, 446K, L&M, Inwood Beer Garden and Bistro, also being held over this one to April 1st. 446N, 565 Westside Cafe Corp., being held over to the 1st. 446Q, 151 Dykeman Corp., being held over to the 1st. 446P, 242 Wood Food Inc., being held over to the 1st. 446R, DRI Collective LLC.
So this is an application for a change in the method of operation that's been held over a few times. I think the last time was to try to get something from the community board because we didn't have any indication that they had gone to the community board. This is supposed to be a restaurant, but now they want, we had limited the license to recorded music when it was granted. Now they want DJ, live music, jukebox dancing, and promoters. It's surrounded by residential buildings.
We're going to go ahead and vote then? Commissioner
Yes.
Fan?
Before you vote, we do have a letter from the community board.
Yes, we do. Agreeing to informally recommend approval based on the terms you discussed and agreed to during the last committee meeting on Tuesday, February 11th. Included the updated hours of operation you recently submitted to our office.
Did they ask?
What does informally recommend approval mean?
Exactly
Does that mean that they didn't actually get a vote at the full board? Because I'm really surprised that they would agree to.
I mean, this is March 9th. This is March 9th, this email, so I'm guessing that they probably were not meeting anymore.
Okay.
Or they said they had the next board meeting on March 18th.
Okay. And can I just clarify what are the hours? What are the change of hours here?
I don't think they asked to change hours. That's what I found interesting.
There's
I know,
a
because
letter,
it says
the letter in support talks about some change of hours, but
Yeah, they don't. Their application does not indicate a change of hours that I saw. Right, Adam?
Right, just the DJ, live music, jukebox, painter dancing, and
I think if you look at their history, everything they're asking for, they've already been doing.
Exactly right.
But go ahead.
Commissioner Fan?
Yeah, but I still don't know what the hours are. Is there let's go this way. Is there an hour restriction on this license, Adam?
No.
It says yeah. I don't know if there's not. It's clear from the application they want all hours. So
The only-
4 a.m.
No, there's no liquor sales
After midnight on
after
Sundays.
midnight on Sundays.
It's the
So
only
they
restriction.
want 4 a.m. closing across the board now.
But it seems like they have 4 a.m. closing because if I'm looking at the meeting minutes from 2017 when you guys actually approved it, there was no mention of hours.
Yeah, I'm sure they
in that
do.
document.
Except for the stipulation on no liquor sales after midnight on Sundays.
That's it?
That's it. That's the only stipulation that was put on by the board.
Oh, that's weird.
When was that? You know?
So is this application removing that restriction? I'm just trying to understand.
That's not.
So here I'm looking at I'm looking at the sheet from 2017 when we voted on this. It's on the last page, and we said there'd be no DJs, no live music, no dancing, no promoters. There's no hours limitation.
Right, but also there's all those nightclub limitations.
Yeah.
Now they want to be a nightclub.
Right. No, they want the cuffs to come off.
Right. They have no discipline since 2000.
Because the question is this really a change of method of operation, or are they changing from a restaurant to?
Should be a class change.
Like, is it a class change? Is this the correct application?
Well, presumably they're going to do all of this and still be a restaurant. I don't know how, which is inevitably going to get them in trouble if all of this is
Right, or to Tom's suggestion, should they be a tavern license with the ability to serve as a restaurant when needed?
no, because they didn't apply for that. So they applied. They're going to remain a restaurant and then end up getting penalized for not operating as a restaurant. That's if it gets approved.
All right, I'm not going to vote in the affirmative. So either we hold it over and try to clarify some of these points, or I will vote to deny.
Commissioner Ford?
I agree. I think we need to get some clarification. So I go to 4-1. We might have to do it again, though. Who knows?
I'm voting to deny, but you guys can. We can get clarification.
Right. So
Whatever the clarification is, though, I'm at deny.
right. You need to explain to me. You need to clarify what the clarification is that you want.
So I want to get an understanding of what the requests for the hours are, because it looks like there was a discussion about extension of hours or change of hours at the community board meeting in February. So I want to clarify that. And, of course, Adam's question is, why are you not doing a class change?
All right. Can we make this on the 15th? Just to make sure because the next meeting is the 1st, and I can get a lot of turnaround.
Okay.
So only at 3:30 a.m.
All right. The next item, 446S, Birdside Food Court.
So I need to save that for 4:15.
Yes.
Oh yeah, that's right.
This is a request for reconsideration of a default at the full board. We imposed a civil fine of $1,000.
The attorney showed up at our last meeting, but he had to leave.
And I think he's agreed to take the $1,000, but he would like it to reflect that it was a CNC because he had faxed a CNC successfully to our office, and for whatever reason,
We missed it.
So he just wants to. He'll take the $1,000 fine, but he wants the record to reflect it was a CNC. I'm fine with that.
Yes, allow the record that it's a CNC and not a default.
Commissioner Ford?
I agree.
Next item is 446T, All Night Skate Inc.
All Night Skate Inc.
This is a new Brooklyn on-premise tavern with 9 employees, 1 security guard. Principals will manage. Recorded music only, no dancing. 12 seats at the bar. Table seating for 24. The owners have experience and will be active in the business.
This was held over to get have enforcement do a 200-foot investigation.
And what do we got?
I haven't gotten anything out.
You have anything?
Wasn't the issue of being 200 feet with it to a church? Have we measured?
They were going to go out and check 2 issues. One, is it 200 feet? And second, is the church exclusively occupied as a church?
And there's heavy resident opposition. Oh, no, I shouldn't say heavy. There's 3 residents that are opposed, and the community board is opposed. But there is also support from many residents, as well as the Hull Street Block Association.
Right. They want a restaurant.
So we should get that measurement squared away.
We don't have
Right.
that.
Like it's in yet.
All right, so we're going to put this over.
What do you
Give
have?
him a quick 4:15. Nobody's in a rush.
Put 415, okay.
Okay.
Yep.
Next item, 446U, Rocky Food Inc.
I'm okay with extending this conditional approval for 12 months until March 11, 2021.
Okay, me too.
I'm good with that too.
All right, the next item.
I don't need to save this then, do I?
I thought you said you're all right with it.
No,
Yeah.
no, you don't need to save it. No,
Oh,
not for
save it? No.
not for a year.
Yeah. 446, well, we wouldn't come back to them anyway.
We'll get you a file cabinet if we had to do that.
446B, NoHo Cultural Society Inc.
Okay. I remember doing this.
Yeah.
Request to extend conditional approval. I am okay with it. Let's go with March 18, 2021.
Man.
Yeah, I'd feel awful for this thing.
Commissioner Ford, you good with that?
I am, so that's it.
I'm sorry, I was muted. Yes.
Okay.
So when? I didn't hear
March,
for how long.
March 18, 2021.
All good.
That's it.
I have no other items. Chairman, you have anything else?
I don't, but thank you for trudging through this with us, and I guess we'll be in touch. The next meeting is April 1st.
Yes.
Same routine.
Same
Yes.
routine.
Mhm.
If you have any suggestions, Commissioner Fan or Commissioner Ford or anyone else on how to make this better without allowing anybody in here, or we are certainly open to suggestions. And you can
I
contact
mean,
Tom
there are some items that if we can set up.
why don't we talk offline?
Okay,
We'll talk
sounds good.
offline.
Okay,
All right.
sounds good.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
With that, the meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.